Well, until today, there have been an unquantifiable yet positive energy, both palpable and contagious, driving this stock market rally. We learned, however, today that it's not impervious to being tested and maybe even extinguished. I mean, face it, the secret to the post-election rally has been this sort of underlying belief that President Trump would apply his laser-like focus to turning the economy higher. Investors aren't naive, and they realize that all facets of the Trump agenda are important and all promises must be kept. Keeping some of those promises will in some cases mean that moods can be hijacked and taken down a more contentious road. There are forces out there that have, well, the ability to sway emotions and trip up enthusiasm. And those powerful forces have high soapboxes and big megaphones. They can stoke counterproductive energy and bring down an element of doubt, or bring out that element of doubt that, well, for many had actually been erased after November 8th. Now, that being said, today President Trump held a roundtable with small business owners from around the country and announced a major measure to reduce burdensome regulations. Watching the tape of that meeting on the news and regulation, you could see that started to put a floor into the stock market sell-off that ultimately set us up to rally into the close. President Trump is instituting a formula that eliminates 2 regulations for every time a new one is implemented, and that should mitigate any further burdens. But I want to see the meat cleaver, right? I want to see him go after these existing regulations without any strings or gimmicks. Just kill them. Same thing with Dodd-Frank. There's serious intervention that's needed. Probably ultimately will require some congressional approval. That being said, financials were among the hardest hit in the session today, with signals that there's some frustration about the timetable of reform. Now, I do find it hard to believe that Republicans would wait until 2018 for corporate or individual tax reform, but that was also the scuttlebutt that took some air out of the enthusiasm for this market. The bias, however, is still to the upside, but we're going to need some clarity and a timetable to be articulated to really keep this party going. Joining me now to discuss, United Rentals CEO Michael Kneeland and Veronica Dagher of the Wall Street Journal. Michael, I got to start with you. Your stock is up 68% since November 8th. Do you call Donald Trump up every night and say thank you?
No, I don't. But you know, there is a Trump effect that's taken place. Obviously.
There's a Trump effect. Is it a combination of the proposals, President Trump's proposals, and also this sort of focus on rejuvenating the economy?
Well, I think part of it is that the economy is doing better than people thought, number one. Number two, it's the anticipation, to your point earlier when you opened up about talking about tax reform. And then also the infrastructure spending that he's looking to push through, which will ultimately, you know, create more jobs and more opportunities for our business and our industry.
Right. United Rentals, of course, you're in every single state. And I think people don't realize how often they see your equipment in your gear, because it's sometimes just kind of sitting there. But you're an amazing sort of, I guess, harbinger of things to come. Could you say that?
Well, we like to think that way. Yeah. We like to think that we provide a way in which people can grow without having to impact their balance sheets using our equipment. It's like the shared economy. It's the same concept that we can go out there and benefit both us, our United Rentals, and our shareholders, and our customers.
In the meantime, Veronica, you do have, there was a powwow over the weekend. President Trump and some GOP leaders, and many of them really on the conservative side, who may throw up roadblocks with tax reform, infrastructure. They don't want to see any more added to the debt, and that can make some things complicated.
Right. There's definitely deficit hawks within the party. The Republicans are not on the same page when it comes to tax reform, maybe not even on some regulatory issues. I think the pressure we saw on the market, though, was some of that disappointment about tax reform not being one of the top agendas. The market isn't interested in travel bans. They're not interested in immigration. They want to see tax reform. This regulatory news somewhat got a little lost because all we heard about was a travel ban. And so a lot of the participants are very focused on saying, let's make taxes a #1 priority. Let's really focus on that, on the agenda, get that done this year. Who knows if it's going to happen, though?
I think it would be a disaster if they pushed it to 2018. I mean, how would that impact your business?
Well, I don't know. It would impact our business.
Well, what's more important for you right now, getting something started with infrastructure or major tax reform?
Well, I think infrastructure is easy to get through because I think both parties have both signaled the fact that they want to get it through. And let's face it, our infrastructure has been neglected for many years, and we have to, if we want to be competitive in the workplace, we have to go out there and invest in it. So I would say that first. I think it's more complicated on the tax reform, but I agree it's very important.
Any concern about the Federal Reserve at all?
No.
No, I didn't think so. Veronica, the civil engineers, I think, have given us a D- grade. Said it would take $4 trillion to bring us up to snuff. So, to Michael's point, there's bipartisan support for that. But it gets us back to the tax issue. I mean, candidate Trump said he's going to give us lower taxes. I know there are a lot of people out there who haven't had a raise in years. If nothing else, they would love to be able to keep more of what they earn.
That's right. They want to keep more of what they earn. But
what's the holdup? I mean, on the individual tax side, what would the holdup be?
That's a really good question. Well, I think there is the deficit hawks, as you had said before. There's people who we have this ballooning deficit. We've got an entitlement issue that we haven't yet dealt with. And so where's the money going to come from? And I think there's some questions as to how we can kind of come to a compromise within the Congress. I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
All right. Well, I hope they don't blow it. They've blown it before. I hope they don't blow it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.